Hello YouTube, this is Samara's Hunter, and I am bringing you yet another deck profile. Today is a Predaplant deck. Now, I will tell you that I do not have a complete extra deck for it, but what I do have does help out. So let's begin. First we'll start with the monsters. So for this deck I run 3 Predaplant Orphis Scorpio. I think that's how you say its name. Get a good look at it. Its effect reads that if this card is normal or special summon, you can send one monster from your hand to the graveyard. Special summon one Predaplant monster from your deck, except Predaplant Orphis Scorpio. You can use this effect of Predaplant Orphis Scorpio once per turn. You'll want to use it to get Darlantonia Cobra or Spinodonia. Next I run 3 Predaplant Seraculent. If you couldn't guess, it's based off of an ant. Yeah, I didn't get it either when I first saw it. Its effect is that when an opponent's monster declares a direct attack, you can special summon this card from your hand. After damage calculation, if this card battled an opponent's monster, you can destroy that opponent's monster. If this card is destroyed by battle, or if this card on the field is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can add one Predap card from your deck to your hand, except Predaplant Seraculent. You can only use the effect of Predaplant Seraculent once per turn. So basically, your opponent launches a direct attack, you summon it in defense mode from your hand, it's destroyed, you get to pull one Predaplant card from your deck. Who's going to object to using that? Now, I will tell you that I typically run pure decks, so you're not going to see any out-of-place cards. Although I do respect the decision of people utilizing like a Firebulb. Next, I run 3 Predaplant Chlamydia Sundew. At least that's what I think they call it. We're just going to refer to it by the plant it represents, and that is Sundew. Monsters with a Predaplant counter that you use as a fusion material are treated as dark attribute monsters. During your main phase, you can fusion summon one dark fusion monster from your extra deck using this card on the field, and monsters from your hand, field, or monsters with a predator counter your opponent controls as fusion materials. You can only use the effect of Predaplant Sundew once per turn. So basically, as a monster has a Predaplant counter on it, you can use them as well. So it's kind of like a super polymerization, only it can fight back. Next I run 2 Predaplant Flytrap. Now this is the best card in this entire deck. You'll understand why when I read you its effect. Once per turn, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls and place one predator counter on it. If its level is 2 or higher, it becomes level 1 as long as it has the predator counter. From this point onward, all monsters that refer to a predator counter have that effect, so I won't mention it. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a monster with an equal or lower level, you can destroy that monster, then increase this card's level by the original level of the destroyed monster. So basically, you summon it to the field, place a predator counter on, say, a level 8 monster. That level 8 monster is then reduced to level 1, attack with Flytrap, that monster is automatically destroyed, and this card immediately becomes a level 10 monster. Wash, rinse, repeat. This also accounts for when your opponent battles it. Now do you understand? So, yeah, it's that good. Next, I run Predaplant Moray Nepenthes. I run 2 of them, sorry. Its effect states that this card gains attack for each predator counter on the field. Well, it gains 200 attack, sorry. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can equip that monster to this card. Once per turn, you can target one monster card equipped to this card by this card's effect. destroy it, and if you do, gain life points equal to its original attack. So if your opponent has, say, a 1400 attack point monster, Moira Nepenthes destroys it, you equip that monster to it, and you can chain it. You can have as many monsters connected to this card as you want. Then you can select one of them, destroy it, gain the attack power as life points. Next, I run 2 Predaplant Cordyceps. By the way, cordyceps are not a plant, it's actually a type of fungus. It's a mind-controlling fungus. So it's a nasty piece of work. Its effect is that during your standby phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 2 level 4 or lower Predaplant monsters in your graveyard, special summon them. Also, for the rest of this turn, you cannot special summon monsters except fusion monsters, nor normal summon or set any monsters. So, in exchange for bringing back 2 level 4 lower monsters, by banishing it, you can't do any other summoning except fusion. Lucky for you, lucky thing too, because this deck revolves around fusion summoning, sort of. Next, I run 2 Predaplant Spinodonia. This card is amazing. And its effect is, if this card is normal or special summon, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, place 1 predator counter on it. After damage calculation, this card battled a monster with an equal or lower level. You can special summon 1 Predaplant monster from your deck, except Spinodonia. So this is another easy way of getting, say, Moira Nepenthes on the field, or Flytrap, or hell, even Orphis Scorpio. It doesn't matter, whatever you feel like. I run also 2 Predaplant Squid Drosera. We're just going to call it Squid. He's got a pretty cool effect too. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, then target 1 face-up monster you control. This turn, it can attack all monsters your opponent controls with a predator counter once each. If this face-up card leaves the field, place 1 predator counter on each special summon monster your opponent controls, and if you do, any of those monsters that are level 2 or higher become level 1 as long as they have the predator counter. So basically, he gets destroyed, place predator counters, then toss it from your hand to the graveyard, target a card such as Starving Venom or Greedy Venom, and the opponent can kiss those monsters goodbye. And believe it or not, I do run 2 Predaplant Predaplant. I mostly use it for cannon fodder. Its effect is that when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, place 1 predator counter on it. Predator counter effect. Once per turn, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls with a level less than or equal to this card's and take control of it until the end of this turn. Until the end of the turn phase. So, it's like mind control, only it affects monsters with a Predaplant counter on it. Or predator, sorry. I run 2 Predaplant Drosophilum Hydra. Its effect states that you can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard by tributing 1 monster on either player's field with a predator counter. You can only special summon Predaplant Drosophilum Hydra once per turn this way. During either player's turn, if this card is on the field or in the graveyard, you can banish 1 of the Predaplant monster from your graveyard, then target 1 monster on the field. It loses 500 attack. You can only use this effect once per turn. So it can weaken your opponent. Lastly, I run 1 Predaplant Darlantonia Cobra. You'll understand why I run 1 in a second. If this card is special summoned by the effects of Predaplant monster, you can add 1 polymerization card or 1 fusion spell card from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect once per duel. Seeing as how I can only use it once per duel, there's no point in running any more than just the 1. And this is the key card you'll want to use when Orpheus Scorpio is on the field. That's it for the monsters. Now on to spells. I run 3 Predaponics. This is the card you need to have on the field. If not on your first turn, then your second turn, because most of your plays will come out of this card. Although I have seen people make plays out of other cards. And its effect states that once per turn, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower Predaplant monster from your hand or graveyard. But it has its effects negated even when this card leaves the field. Once per turn during your standby phase, pay to 800 life points or destroy this card. So, it's a Resurrector, which is not bad. It's not a bad card at all. I run 2 Predapruning. This is essentially a revival card. So you activate this card by targeting 1 Predaplant monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and equip it with this card. When this card leaves the field, destroy that monster. So it's called the Haunted, or only it targets just Predaplant cards. Next, I run 2 Polymerizations. Everyone knows what Polymerization does. It allows you to fuse cards. I do also run 1 Ultra Polymerization. Essentially, you pay 2,000 life points. Fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using 2 monsters you control as fusion materials. Neither player can activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. So basically, it occurs no matter what. And your opponent has to just sit there and watch it happen. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 fusion monster that was fusion summoned with this card's effect. Special summon that all the fusion materials used for its fusion summoning from your graveyard, but change their attack and defense to 0. They also have their effects negated. This is one heck of a card, and I'm surprised they haven't limited it yet. I also run 1 Refusion. Its effect states that you activate this card by paying 800 life points, then target 1 fusion monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and equip it with this card. When this card is destroyed, banish the equipped monster. Now this is only when Refusion is destroyed. So if your monster is destroyed, you're safe. That's it for the spell cards, and on to the trap cards, which I only run 1. And that's 3 Predaplant. You get a lot of good plays off of Predaplant. If a monster with a Predator counter leaves the field while this card is face up on the field, add 1 Predap card from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Predaplant once per turn. You can banish this card from your graveyard, fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck, using monsters from your hand or field as fusion materials. Only Predaplant monsters can be used as fusion materials for the fusion summoning using this card. So, it's a draw power card. And when you banish it, it acts as a fusion card. What's not to love about it? It's a shame it only limits you to just utilizing Predaplant monsters. Otherwise, I can see a crud ton more plays that can be done with it. That's it for the main deck. Now on to the extra deck. I'm going to start in reverse with my 2 Predaplant Chimera Staphylia, or something like that. We're just going to call it Chimera. Its effect is quite amazing. Once per turn, you can target 1 monster on the field with a level less than or equal to this card and banish it. When an attack is declared involving this card and an opponent's face-up monster, you can activate this effect until the rest of the turn. That opponent's monster loses 1,000 attack, and if it does, this card gains 1,000 attack. Once per turn, during the next standby phase after this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Polymerization spell card or 1 Fusion spell card from your deck to your hand. It's pretty self-explanatory what it does. Don't see any reason to go into detail. Okay, I will. Gain life point. Your opponent's monster loses attack points. You gain attack. It gains attack points. You can banish cards. What's not to love about it? Now, I only have one of these, but I recommend running at least 2 or 3. But Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. Its effect states that it requires 2 dark monsters on the field, except tokens. And if this card is fusion summoned, you make this card attack. You can make this card gain attack equal to 1 special summon monster your opponent controls. Until the end of this turn, once per turn, you can target 1 level 5 or higher monster your opponent controls. Until the end of this turn, this card's name becomes that monster's original name, and replace this effect with that of the monster's original effect. If this fusion summon card is destroyed, destroy all special summon monsters your opponent controls. So, it gains attack points equivalent to 1 special summon monster. Then you can change its effect to that monster's effect. And if it's destroyed, your opponent loses all special summon monsters they control. And if you run Starving Venom, you might as well run its upgraded form, Greedy Venom Fusion Dragon, which is a far superior form. It requires 1 Predaplant monster and 1 dark monster whose original level is level 8 or higher. So Starving Venom works. It must be fusion summoned. Once per turn, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field. Until the end of this turn, change that attack's target to 0. Also, that target has its effects negated. If this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, destroy as many monsters on the field as possible. Then you can banish 1 level 8 or higher dark monster from your graveyard and special summon this card from the graveyard. So, basically, negates effects, drops the attack power to 0, and then if it's destroyed, your opponent can lose pretty much every monster they control. Then you banish Starving Venom to bring this guy back. Far superior, right? Now, like I said, the extra deck's not complete, so that's all I have for it. I might do an update video, I might not. Don't hold your breath. Now, and as always, remember, like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification so you can see when I upload a new video. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.